Welcome to the Quit Sugar Summit, where each year we bring you the world's leading educators, MDs, PhDs, researchers and scientists, coaches, and everyone you need to know to change your relationship with sugar. Now remember, we're going to bring you 6 to 8 hours of programming every single day, so make sure when you get the email in the morning, you make a schedule out and take good care of yourself. Hydrate well, eat well, sleep well. And if you have a full-time job or you can't watch that much programming, please know that you can grab a copy of the speakers package, which will give you thousands of dollars worth of bonuses from all of the speakers and over 200 videos of the past summits. Enjoy this presentation.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Quit Sugar Summit. I am your co-host, Tracy Desjardins, and today's guest speaker is Christy McCammon. Welcome, Christy, to the Quit Sugar Summit.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
We're so happy to have you. Thank you so much for your contribution to the summit and for your willingness to share your personal story. It's going to be such a fun interview today. This is going to be a great conversation about the challenges with sugar and flour addiction, food obsession, and dieting. We're going to wrap all those together, and we can't hear what you have to say. It's going to be great. Before we dive into Christy's history and her powerful work, I'd like to read a bit about Christy so we can get a little acquainted with her. So here we go. Most of Christy's life has been spent being overweight and food obsessed. Unfortunately, food became her friend and comfort at a very young age. This set up a lifetime of dependence on food for every emotion: sadness, joy, fear, excitement, happiness, anger, boredom, chaos, you name the emotion, and food was the answer. Christy was in a battle with food daily and was either white-knuckling her way to stay out of the food or overeating and binging. There was no in-between. No matter what she tried, she simply could not let go of sugar and flour-laden junk food. It had truly become a stronghold in her life that kept her enslaved to food. The idea of moderation always sounded ideal. Just one piece, just one bowl, just one slice, just one. That never worked for her. Once she had just one, her brain was actively demanding more. She was in a place of desperation, and her weight was the highest it had ever been. She had tried every diet and plan available. In past weight loss attempts, there was usually short-term success, but eventually she was right back to obsessing over food and binging on sugar and flour-filled foods. Christy wanted a permanent way out of this food obsession and was ready to fully surrender. At that point, she came across the idea of food boundaries. This is simply the idea of following boundaries in regard to food. No sugar, no flour, 3 meals a day, and measured portions. She did have to eat food to survive, but she did not have to eat sugar and flour. She knew in that moment that her rescue boat had arrived, and she just had to jump in and paddle. I love that. She began eating amazing, delicious, and abundant amounts of food. A lifestyle change rather than a diet was exactly what she needed. She has been maintaining a 100-pound weight loss for 4 years now. Sometimes living sugar and flour free is hard. But being obese and food obsessed is much harder. Now she can fully enjoy the life that she has always loved. Life is so much sweeter without sugar, and her mission is to help those who are stuck in the vicious food addiction cycle to gain the freedom they fully need to live out God's plan for their life. Wow. We are all sweating just listening to that. That is yeah. So I mean, like, that it's such an emotional share that you have. And honestly, I would like to just give you the floor, Christy, to have you dive back and just tell us where it all started for you and how you got to where you are now.
Okay. Wow. When I hear that read back to me like that, it's like this out-of-body experience of this life that I was just lost and sad. And like, it was this great life. I have a husband. I've been married 30 we've been together 32 years, actually, 5 kids, wonderful life. And yet I felt just like trapped. And I've heard the term sugar shackles, which I love. I think it was Natty Lounston who had first heard that from. But, I felt like I was just trapped with sugar and overweight, consequently. The weight isn't the problem. The sugar, the food, of course, is the problem. The weight is the consequence. But so when I listen to that story, it gets me so emotional, just thinking of how desperate I was, just desperate, because most of my life was food obsessed and overweight. I tried things, I'd lose some weight, I'd gain it back. Try something else, lose some weight, gain it back. So it was a, diet merry-go-round, right? Okay, what thing is next? Oh, let's try this. And I do think that most diets, really anything you choose will work temporarily, whatever you fully commit to. It's the longevity of it. And so for me, when I came across food boundaries, I was at a place in my life where I realized, okay, this is a lifestyle change. This is not a diet. This is putting up some permanent walls. That doesn't mean it's been a perfect journey. Let's be clear. It doesn't mean that it hasn't been hard, but to put up some firm, hard walls was extremely helpful for me and thousands of women that I talk to on a daily basis. It's absolutely incredible because there is something about sugar that's addictive. It is. And Mike, actually, I love last year, Mike would call it, or I've heard him call it a powder addiction. So for me, I've cut out sugar and flour because they are both addictive substances. And maybe not for everybody, but for if it's addictive to you, you know it, and you can't stop. I mean, I tried to moderate my whole life. I mean, even going to Weight Watchers was all about moderation, or, Jenny Craig or any diet was all about, you can have one brownie. That's okay. It's 2 points or whatever, however you want to count it. It wasn't about points or calories to me. It was, I'd eat this brownie. I want more. I want more. When can I have more? When's the next brownie? That's all I could think about. So there was no moderating for me of any kind. And that would be the same with chips too. Even if you get, a chip that, yes, you can have that on this particular plan, I would eat more. So putting up those firm, hard boundaries created just a freedom for me that said, you know what, if I choose to eat within these boundaries, my life is simply better. It's just simply better. And if I step outside of them, I'm outside and I'm like a wild person until I get back inside the boundaries. So it's absolutely been the best gift. In fact, I had a friend who would say to me, how can you feel free with all those restrictions? And I said to her, I don't have restrictions. Before I had restrictions, I was restricted because I was very, very large. I was very, very consumed with food. I was restricted before. Now I have some boundaries that keep me free. I'm not restricted.
Can I dive in with a question?
Yeah.
I'm so curious about this. We have similar dieting war stories, sugar, powder addiction. Oh, goodness, I could keep you on here, Zoom for 2 hours. But when you talk about being food obsessed and you were on diets and then you discovered food boundaries. So the diets, as we know, they have rules and restrictions and regulations, and it has nothing to do with any intuitive sense of anything. We have to follow the rules and basically hand over our self-trust to the diet program.
Yes.
Then you said you found food boundaries. Can you talk a little bit about maybe exactly what that is and how that for you, having this former warpath path with dieting, maybe feeling rebellious, right? Don't we always feel rebellious when we're dieting? How was that different? So to folks out there that are dealing with, sugar addiction, they're dealing with flour, they're walking that road of food obsession right now. Can you help us understand what it is about those food boundaries that did it for you?
Well, when I first heard about them was in the year 2000 at an Overeaters Anonymous meeting. And I thought, oh, the word abstinence, right? I thought, oh, okay, that sounds interesting. And I was a young mom at the time, and I knew that sounded great. I thought that is the answer. But for some reason, I wasn't willing to commit and jump in because it was just talking about abstinence to sugar.
Okay.
Well, so I was abstinent from sugar for a little while, but I wasn't free. I did not feel free, and I still struggled tremendously. So then I jumped to a different program, right? Well, in 2017, when I heard more about food boundaries and realized sugar and flour both was the issue, I thought, okay, well, my first thought, let's be real, was this is going to be hard. And this is what everyone says. What do you eat? Well, there's abundant, but beautiful, amazing food God created. But because we're not eating it so much, we forget about it, right? But there's protein and vegetables. There's not millions. I was going to say millions of vegetables, but there's so many vegetables that we haven't even touched the surface of, right? If you go into the grocery store and start looking, so many great things, colorful, wonderful things. Same with fruit. But because we've been eating out of boxes and bags for so long, we start to wonder, what are you going to eat? So my first thought was, well, what do you eat? And then I very quickly started laying out food, going to the store, researching, looking, and realizing there's so much wonderful food. It almost felt like I was being lied to all these years. Like I didn't even realize all this great food was available. I knew it was, obviously, but because everywhere you go, it's cookies or chips or bags or boxes. And we grew up in an era where my mom, it was like when boxes first came out, like Hamburger Helper and all the different macaroni and cheese things. We had out of boxes because that's what that era did, because it was new and it was simple, right? Well, now we can look back and think, okay, there was a problem, but we didn't know that. They didn't know that at the time. So I can't fault anybody for that. Sure. So I realized there's so many things that can be eaten. And what I saw as restrictions, okay, I could look here, I could say, oh, I can't eat this and this and this and this, or I get to eat all of this amazing stuff. And when I changed my mindset and I decided I am no longer going to look at what I can't have or don't have, because I could have it. I just choose not to because it traps me and I don't want it. If I look at those things, then I'm not grateful for all the amazing things that I have. So that's one of the first things I tell people is, let's stop looking at what we're not going to have and start looking at the incredible things that you can put together. And you can put together almost anything that's similar to what maybe came in a box or a bag, but that's actually wholesome and good. And that has no processed sugar, no processed flour. And so I've spent time developing fun recipes and having fun with experimenting those things. But we have to get our mind away from, oh, I can't have this, 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 this. And if we're staring at what we can't have all the time, we're going to want it. We have to remove it and look the other way.
Oh, Christy, you just landed on such a soft spot that I'd love to wrap our arms around. Thank you for describing what you just said, because it really is. I will tell you, I struggled with this for a really long time until I kind of worked on that mindset stuff. Okay, so you described, I like to call it a deprivation mindset, because what you said is we can have it all. I mean, by golly, 24 hours a day, right? You can leave your house and drive somewhere, or even walk, stop. You buy, you stop for like, a bag of ice, or at the hardware store. It's available everywhere.
Yes, yes.
And the thing is, when we talk about, oh gosh, there are triggers, the triggers are there. They're in our face. So thinking about, what, we can have whatever we want whenever, and there's going to be a result.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like when you see the stuff in the checkout line, like, it's not that we can't have it. We absolutely can, but there's a result that we don't want if we eat that.
Yes,
right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Versus what you said about there are thousands of vegetables and fruits and whole natural unprocessed foods that produce a result that you wanted. Yes. And you started to notice, hey, you know what? When I eat this, I feel like that. I'd like that result better. So then you had an elevation mindset, right? Am I kind of on track here with what you said? And that is just so huge. So we would like to know from you, all of the friends listening, it makes sense when we talk about it, right? But when you're faced in that moment, it's really hard to remember, because we're so, sometimes we feel like 2-year-olds out in the world. where they're dangling these things in front of us, but we know we should eat that apple or, whatever it is. So let's recognize that it is hard.
Yep.
But give us an example of how that is for you now when you're out somewhere, let's say a family reunion. That comes up a lot, especially now that we're summer. When you see those things that used to call your name and you went for that, but you don't anymore. Can you help us with how you think about food in situations like that maybe used to be out of control for you?
Yes, absolutely. I very much used to just be a 2-year-old, really, when you think back in terms of eating what I want, when I wanted, and not worrying about the consequences at all. And the consequences were not good. They were not good at all. But it was all about, it's really just a selfish self-gratification. Like, I want this, I'm going to have it. And we have emotions that come up regularly. Anxiousness is a very common thing for everybody, but most women that I talk to have anxious moments, worried about our kids or, what's going on here. And that anxiousness drives us to eat. Okay, that's reality. So there are moments that I have that come up that I think, oh, this thing sounds really good. Or I'm at an event, okay? Or Mexican restaurant is one of the hardest places to go because I don't eat chips and everybody's eating chips. And not only are they eating them, they're eating an abundantly ridiculous amount, right? So I plan my meals ahead of time. I cannot go willy-nilly out into a meal. I don't want to do that. I plan ahead of time what I'm going to have. Now, there are times where I'm in a situation where I wasn't planning to be somewhere and I'm having to eat out. That's perfectly fine. I know how to do that now. And I know, protein, vegetable, and a fat. That's a safe bet in the evening or lunchtime. But there are emotional times that come up. We're at a family reunion, say, for example, like you had said, and Aunt Sally brings out her special pie that everybody has every year, and I would eat abundant amounts of it. That is going to be a trigger for me. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. Unless I don't go. I mean, if I don't go to the party, and that's not an option. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, for different reasons, right?
Right, yeah.
So when that is out there, I think, okay, oh boy, that smells good. That looks good. If I keep looking at it and if I watch people eat it, I will absolutely fall and struggle. Even if I don't eat it right then, I'm going to go home and I'm going to have more food thoughts and struggle the next day. So I very quickly, this is my motto, my slogan is stop, pray, and walk away. Ooh. I have to get out of the situation, whether it's chips or pie or an anxious moment. And I'm at a drive-through thinking, oh boy, that would solve this moment, because it does solve the moment. It creates a bigger problem, we know. So I stop, pray, walk away. I stop in my physical body, meaning I stop what I'm doing. I stop walking or moving. And I say, Lord, I can't do this on my own. I need a little help here. And I get away. I move. I avert my eyes and get in a different position. And doing that, it's so simple. Stop, pray, walk away, right? Pick a motto or a slogan that works for you, but you have to get yourself out of the situation. That doesn't mean that I need to make a big deal. I don't need to say, oh my gosh, the pie. I just quietly move and reset my mind and my willpower. I have to get away from it. And sometimes, if it's real bad, I'll go to a quiet spot, go to the restroom, text a friend, reach out in one of my Facebook groups, or, just start praying. And also 5 deep breaths, 3 deep breaths actually can do the trick. When I get away, taking 3 deep breaths just helps. It helps me make the next right choice. And I know for me, that next right choice is not that pie. It's not, because I don't stop at one. So I know I have to get myself away from it. Mm-hmm. But staring at it, staying there isn't going to help. So it's just getting away, taking some deep breaths, and resetting what the next right move is.
You know what? You just sound like so graceful and elegant how you describe that. You sound confident. You sound like, you know what? I trust myself. I know exactly what I need to do. And that pie, that thing, is not going to take me down. I've come too far. Mm-hmm. I'm loving how you just, you said stop, pray, walk away. We need t-shirts. We need bumper stickers. All that's, I
Yes,
mean,
we
it's
do.
fabulous. I mean, like Mike talks about the sugar craving interruption techniques.
Yeah.
And you just
Okay.
gave our friends on the summit here a wonderful sugar cravings interruption technique.
That's awesome.
And you
Yeah.
said stop, pray, walk away. So that is mind, spirit, body. Out of here. Stop. What's going on? I see the pie. Pray, Lord, help me. I can't do this alone. Walk away. Oh, the hair is standing up on my arms. I love that. And then you said you take 3 deep breaths to center yourself. And you know what? Everybody listening, it sounds so simple. It does. It sounds easy.
Right.
Not easy. It's
Right.
simple.
Yes.
So, Christy, give us some insight. How did you learn? It's not like one day you ended a diet and the next day you're at a reunion day, I'm going to stop, pray, and walk away. Like, what was it for you that helped you make that bridge to get there? Because it can be overwhelming to go from fighting with food and being really low in our relationship with food in our body to be like, yep, stop, pray, walk away. I got this.
Right. And let's be real, I don't have it every time. Every time I have failed, I have made a decision I didn't want to make and then have to get back on track. But nobody's going to be perfect. That's what I think is really important. Anyone listening, we're not going to be perfect. You're going to make a mistake in all likelihood. Some people, maybe not. But grace upon grace upon grace, and continue with the next right choice, because we are going to make mistakes. But so, let's see, how exactly did you ask that? What put me in that position? Okay, so first of all, when I realized food boundaries was the answer for me, again, and that had to just be, I was just at a place that had to be, that was the solution, that was the lifestyle change. It took probably a month of 5 to 7 days of physical detox is what it usually takes. And then about 30 days of emotional detox, like serious, heavy emotional detox. And then, of course, there's a lifetime of emotional detox because we have such deep triggers connected to certain foods or smells, right? But the 30 days of this emotional detox, I call it, I literally cried every day for 30 days. Not all day, every day, but I would smell something or see something. And because I was so used to satisfying that and self-gratification and not thinking about things, just eating, it was really hard to feel and to think. I didn't do that, apparently. I get anxious and I'd eat. Okay, good. Whoo, we're good. Or I'd get nervous. Oh, okay. Or bored or excited.
Anything.
Yeah. So I never let it sink to, what am I feeling? So to feel the anxiousness or excitement, it was a little bit uncomfortable, to be totally honest. And it was hard. But after that first month, I was, okay, I'm feeling all this stuff and I'm fine, right? I mean, the things, like, our feelings won't kill us, right? If I'm feeling scared and anxious, they won't kill us. But what I use to not feel them will kill me, can kill me, which is excessive sugar, right? It won't necessarily kill me on the spot, but it definitely lessens my life and creates issues that can cause me to take my own life on the installment plan, right? By continuing to do that.
Oh my God.
So I knew I had to feel the feeling and I had to cry. My kids even said to my husband, "What is wrong with mom?" And he said, she's just working through he was so sweet. She's just working through some things and not using food. Because that's what I said. I'm not going to use food anymore because it's using and abusing food. So he said, she's working through some stuff. She'll be okay. Just love her, which was the best. It makes me cry when I think about it, because that's what they did, was just love me, right? They love me before, they love me after. I'm just mom. They don't care what I'm eating, of course. But I would think about all these tempting situations. And I thought, man, my kids were teenagers. Okay. I have 5 kids. And so I have, at the time when I first started doing this, they were, 4 up until 16, I think. And I would tell them, when you're in a situation, when someone shows you their phone and you're tempted to look at something, when someone hands you something that you shouldn't have, when someone gives you the answer to a test, when someone asks you to go behind the building, you need to stop, pray, and walk away, and then make a decision. Well, I realized I'm giving them all this great advice, right? In there, I'm trying as a mom to help them. That's the same exact advice I need when I was tempted in my struggles. The struggle is different, but we have to do the same things. So that's where I got from there to there.
It's such a big takeaway. By the way, I had walked out of a restaurant one time crying. I sat in the car and bawled my head off.
Oh.
And I had, good family support like you did. But yeah, it's definitely like it's like an inner emotional cleansing, and that can be scary, especially for, a lot of us didn't know we didn't learn how to feel our feelings. So what do we do with these heavy feelings, these emotions? You just feel something uncomfortable, and here we go, we're going for the things.
Yeah.
We know that it's very valid, and it's not weak to sit with our emotions and to allow these thoughts and feelings to just kind of marinate. Like, you know what? I'm just irritated. I'm irritable today.
Yes. Yes.
It's okay to be irritable and to maybe just be quiet, more quiet than usual. I think there's something going on here in the world of, the sugar and flour addiction and the toxicity of dieting. When it comes to, hey, it's time for all of us to start validating our feelings and taking a stand for our emotions, because they're beacons, So you just described so much about like meeting our emotional and mental health needs without sugar.
Yeah.
I mean, such a wealth of information. There's such a wonderful example to your family, your children, 5 children. I mean, they're watching you go through the discomfort to get to the other side, like Mike says, and you're at the other side. And we can't wait to hear your work and how you're helping other people learn how to do this. We're all kind of linking arms in this healing journey,
Yep.
But can you also talk about maybe, the feeling in your body when you eliminated the sugar and the flour? What were some of like the physical feelings, the physical ramifications that you had that maybe changed?
Oh my gosh, things that I didn't even know I was struggling with, because we tend to look at, oh, we're overweight, we need to lose weight. Well, that's just a little portion. I mean, it feels really big, but it's just a little portion of the issue. It's just a result of what we're putting in our mouth, right? So that, of course, being heavily overweight, but I realized when I stopped eating sugar and flour, my feet and my knees did not hurt. I wasn't even realizing they hurt like they did. But when I look back, my feet hurt when I got out of bed every single day. They just hurt. And my knees were sore walking up and down stairs. Well, now I know it's the inflammation from sugar. I didn't know that at the time. I just thought, oh, I'm, getting older. Well, no, it has nothing to do with that. In my case, of course, at some point you get older, things change. But and I would sleep much better. I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up, rested. I'd feel great. And I didn't realize the struggles I was having prior. And then the oddest thing was, I remember many years ago when I was pregnant with one of my kids and I was at my doctor, and she said something to me about this rash on my back. And I didn't even realize, it was there. And she said, we can give you some cream for that. And I thought, oh, it's okay, no big deal, because it wasn't bothering me. Well, then I came home and I looked and I realized it's just these red spots on my back. Didn't even think about it. Didn't even cross my mind for years upon years. And then a couple of years ago, I went to put on a dress that kind of had a low back, and I was looking in the mirror and I thought, oh my gosh, I remember I used to have bumps on my back. And then it dawned on me, I have no bumps on I don't have any of that stuff, because I don't have, and I know for a fact it had to do with the sugar and flour, because I had since researched, different skin things, and that's what it had to do with. But yet I was at the doctor and she's saying, oh, let's take some medicine for this. I'm like, well, really all I had to do was cut out sugar and flour, So my skin is just much healthier, and my face, everything is just healthier. I can just feel it throughout my whole body and my bones.
It's just amazing. I mean, I'm looking at you right now and I'm like, okay, tell me what kind of cleanser you use, because it's inspiring. You've got amazing skin. And it's just so amazing how when we keep the powdered stuff out,
yes,
in terms of how you mentioned the inflammation. I mean, you know what, Christy, honestly, you just reminded me, my first 30 days in, it was like right at the 30-day mark. Yeah. And we're about the same age, you and I. So I'm estimating based on your story, but I had what I believe to be at my age, well, I'm starting to get low back pain like everybody else.
Yeah.
And I thought really it was just, well, this at my age. Well, all of a sudden my low back pain was gone. I was pumping Motrin and ibuprofen to just, well, this is just what I'm going to have to do. And that wasn't it. So isn't it interesting? Like you were sharing about, the skin on top of the chronic inflammation that you had. And it's just crazy.
It is. And you don't even realize what you're experiencing until you cut the powders out, the sugar and flour, you cut them out. And our bodies want to do well for us. Our bodies want to feel good. Our bodies want to be a right, healthy size, but we're fighting it by introducing, and not just introducing, but obsessively eating sugar and flour.
Right. So when you went back to the doctor, how was that when you went back to the doctor and you felt better? Your skin looks great. Do you remember?
No, because it was such a different space and time that, when I realized, oh, I don't have that anymore, it was a different doctor and whatnot. But I just remember thinking, I feel like if I was my body talking to me, I would want to say thank you. I kind of felt like it was this out of body moment of your body thanks you for just cutting those things out. And your head is calmer, your head is clearer, you're not obsessed about food, you can process and think differently. I just feel like our bodies thank us when we do things like that, and we feel so good.
I love how you just described that. I mean, that is like just a loving gesture coming from your spirit. Thank you. Your body is thanking you. And you just described, again, we go back to like rewards, the instant gratification of the stuff. We lived like that for so long. And of course, it's not even our fault. I am going to go as far as to say, how can that really be our fault when it's dangled in front of us everywhere we turn?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
So let's just remove the self-loathing and the shame. Well, of course we were going to eat the things because they were so prevalent, right? Yep. But now we know, because you have described the rewards that you're experiencing on a mind, body, spirit level that are ongoing. They stay with you. It's not something you experience for 2 minutes and then it goes away.
Right.
You hold on to those rewards.
Yes.
And it's just so powerful. So talk to us about, did you notice any patterns with your sleep changing? How was that?
I had 5 kids and I nursed them all. And so it was about a 10-year window of either being pregnant or having an infant. So I was up a lot, but I did notice, what I noticed is I used to get up with my babies and I would eat throughout the night. And then I wouldn't sleep at all because I'd be wired up with sugar. I would literally grab the worst thing you could possibly grab and just sit on the couch and just eat, because I thought, I'm up, I'm by myself, look at me go, I can have what I want to have. I didn't realize I was really harming and punishing myself, but I thought I was like giving myself a reward, and I was not.
You know what? Let's just stop there and examine that, because I think that would be a great opportunity to discuss when we hit an emotional or energetic low. Okay, it's really tough to want the energy. I would always have my sugar binges in the late afternoon because I wanted to get more work done. I was go. And I thought I was hungry. I was coming apart at the seams. I thought my diet was going well every day until about that time. I was trying to use willpower, but I was trying to fill up on energy rather than say, hey, what do I really need? Can we take a 10-minute break for the love of all things? No,
exactly. Is that so ridiculous? Yes, I hear you.
Yeah. So let's go to your advice to anybody, any of our friends out there listening on the Quit Sugar Summit. When they reach their, I call it a snake pit of their day.
Yes.
We all have them, right?
Yes.
So we are going to just remind everybody of your advice.
Okay.
We could take this advice for those lulls in our day. We're like, I just feel like I need to eat something. Stop, pray, walk away could come into that.
Yes.
Can I add on to that just a little?
Yes.
little tip.
Please.
Okay. Let's say it's 4 o'clock and somebody hasn't eaten lunch for 4 hours.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to stop. We're going to pray and we're hungry.
Yes.
So what would you do if you're coming apart at the seams at 4 p.m. in the afternoon? I'm stopping. Yes, I'm hungry. I'm praying that I don't go for the vending machine, but I'm going to do what? What advice would you give?
Okay. So are you saying you did eat lunch at noon? Like if someone ate?
Yes, thank you. And now I'm hungry. I'm
Because
legitimately
we're all hungry. I mean, 3 o'clock comes, I want food almost every single day. I've been doing this for a long time. Every day, 3 o'clock, I want food. I want a snack, even if it's healthy. But because I don't snack, I have my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's okay to be hungry. It's okay to be hungry. I think we also have gotten in a trap that hunger and fullness, we don't know what to make of those. We feel full and we feel like we've overeaten and we're doing bad. We feel hungry and we feel like, okay, wait, I'm too hungry. I don't like this feeling. So I don't want to feel hungry for a long, long time. If we're hungry, yes. But if it's 4 o'clock and we know that we have our dinner planned, we've got a meal planned at home at 6 o'clock with our family or out to dinner or whatever it is, there's no reason that we can't go. I like sparkling water. That's my trick every afternoon, is to go so I stop, take a few deep breaths and realize food is not going to solve anything. Yes, it's going to take care of this rumbling in my tummy, but I can also have a sparkling water. I love Bubbly brand, LaCroix, AHA. There is hundreds of flavors of sparkling water, and they're all very good. Or a hot tea or a coffee. Something in the afternoon is really helpful for me to, okay, here's my little thing. I'm going to get over the hump and then dinner's waiting for me. I have this amazing dinner waiting for me, or a fine dinner, whatever. It doesn't have to be amazing, whatever's waiting. But to take that moment and acknowledge the fact that I'm hungry and it feels uncomfortable, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't have to eat right now. And I can have a drink that will actually help fill my belly so I don't have to think about that I'm hungry. There's nothing wrong with that. So I really love sparkling waters in the afternoon. That's my go-to every afternoon.
Thank you for sharing what works for you there. I can remember in my dieting days when I really believed that I needed to starve and get used to that feeling. I would get headaches and it would be really, really horrible. I would be afraid of hunger.
Yeah.
Because I would binge for the wrong reasons because I had that rebellious thought process going. So breaking free from that, well, I'm not allowed to have any more points. I can't be hungry. And then I would give up and go crazy. So I'm loving how you just described how you can connect with yourself on that hunger feeling and then thinking, hey, we're going to have dinner soon. It's almost like you talk to yourself in a nurturing voice.
Yes, it is. And that sometimes feels weird, but nobody else is talking to me that way.
Yeah.
And I used to be so aggressive to myself. Well, you're just such a loser. And how about this? And you can't do this right. And you don't deserve to, be healthy or thin anywhere. I would always say negative things. So why can't I say positive things? Why can't I remind myself, hey, listen, we got dinner coming. Just a quick little thing. We don't always listen to our negative thoughts, but we all have them. And once we recognize them, we can turn them around to be positive, loving things that we're speaking over ourselves.
And that is something I had personally had to work hard to embrace because my inner critic was just running my show. So that's another way that, you and I are linking arms with all the friends here on the Quit Sugar Summit being like, hey, guess what? It is now, we're going to make it a popular thing to talk gently and loving to ourselves, to bring that voice in, to, be that mothering, nurturing, validating voice to ourselves. Like, that's the thing to do now, friends. And we are here to say, yes, do it. We can.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It changes your choices and decisions. And you realize you are valuable and worthy and we're loved and valued and treasured exactly as we are. We don't need to beat ourselves up.
And that right there is a segue away from needing the junk. Right? Because when we talk gently enough to ourselves, then we kind of have the space to go there with those questions that you asked yourself. Like, what do I really need? What's going on? And then stop, pray, walk away.
Yeah.
That is calm. And when you were describing that, how calm and slow and graceful you sounded, to slow down and to connect with yourself. I love it.
Yes.
So we have no doubt that you and your community and people that are near and dear to you who have watched your journey are like, Christy, help me. I want to learn from you. So tell us the work that you're doing to help other people.
Okay. I had never thought that I'd be in a position to be helping other people in this, in this avenue. I did other things, I'm a homeschool mom and I would always help other people, and my husband and I would help people in their marriages. But the idea that I would help people in weight blows my mind. And not just weight, the addiction piece, because that is just as important. It's not just about the weight, which we know. But so I have a website. I have all the social media things. I give away lots of free resources because I want people to know they're not alone. My website is called Life Unbinged. So Life Unbinged. And so my Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all the things and website is Life Unbinged, because I realized this is about living a life unbinged. It's not about living a skinny life or a healthy life. Yes, healthy is good, of course. But if we're living a life unbinged and keeping food in its rightful place, we're going to be healthy. We're going to be healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually. We're going to keep food where it belongs, on a plate, 3 times a day or 5 times or whatever, however many times someone chooses their food plan to be. So I have the privilege of working with women and helping them see their worth and value and why they can be a conqueror. We tell ourselves we're not a conqueror, but God says we're more than a conqueror. So who am I going to believe? Well, I had to start recognizing the truth. So I have the honor to be able to work with women on a monthly basis and share with them and teach them and have accountability groups. Right now on my Facebook, I'm hosting a food freedom workshop. I have a self-paced course, for people to just start recognizing who they are, why they're worth it, and what they're going to do about it, and how they're going to stay clean, stay sugar sober out of it, all the tangible ways to help someone keep that lifestyle. It's not a diet, it's that lifestyle. So I'm so honored to be able to share with all the people I work with, to be able to share with the, summit, and just, it's really a dream a dream I didn't even know I had come true.
Oh, it's just amazing. You help others see their worth and believe that they are a conqueror. That's got nothing to do with food, right there. Isn't that great? Like that right there. It really has nothing to do about, we'll deal with the food, right? You deal with the food, but it's so much deeper than that. With our relationship with ourselves and you know what, Christy, no doubt that you agree that food obsession, sugar addiction, flour addiction, dieting can be an addiction, right?
Absolutely.
It just robs us of those gifts of, I am a worthwhile, valuable person with an abundant life to live. And there's something that I do really well that's going to help other people. And we can't see that when we're fogged on sugar, when we're recovering from the binge from the last diet. So I'm loving that. Lifeunbinged.com. Friends of the Quit Sugar Summit, hop on over to the internet and find her website and see what she's talking about. This has been just so wonderful. Christy McCammon, I have one more question to ask you.
Yes.
To the folks out there that really want to make these shifts, they don't want to binge anymore. They don't want to feel controlled by the sugar and the flour or the dieting. I know I gave you no warning that I was going to ask you this question. So if you want to take a second, what would you say to them? What's one piece of advice, loving advice, that you could give them, to someone that really wants to walk your shoes, but they just feel like it's just so hard?
Okay. First of all, it is hard, but it's harder to be food obsessed and overweight. The thought of it being hard, it's not as hard as it sounds. So if you're listening, it is not as hard as it seems. And I would love for you to ask yourself the question, if I was someone who truly loved and valued myself, would I eat the way I eat right now? Ask yourself that, because we need to love and value ourselves and to see our worth. And when we find our worth, we're not going to do those things to ourselves, because we're going to see the consequences and the pain, and that it's not worth it. We're going to see that we can be victorious and we deserve that victory. So many of us have been beat down that we don't feel we deserve it. We don't think we deserve to be healed or thin or healthy or unaddicted, whatever word we want to use. But you deserve it. You deserve it.
Yeah. Christy McCammon, this has been absolutely wonderful. No doubt everybody is feeling so inspired by your loving authenticity. And this has just been a fantastic conversation. I mean, we've touched on so much. Lifeunbinged.com. I cannot wait to check out the work that you're doing and connect with you on social media. So friends, don't forget to find Christy McCammon. And I hope that you will join us in the next summit. And thank you so much for your share and your time and giving us your heart.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
All right, Christy, take care. Thanks.
Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you want a permanent record of it, please consider grabbing a copy of the speakers package. You'll be able to watch this and all of the speakers anytime you want. And it comes with thousands of dollars worth of bonuses from all the speakers and over 200 videos of the past summits. You'll always be able to watch it at any time you want, and you'll always have access to it. Enjoy the next video.